What's that metronome I hear? Perhaps the end is drawing near. You never hear the shot that takes you down. Out of time, so say goodbye. What is yours now is mine. And I dream broken dreams. I make them come true. I make them for you. I make them for you.
Hello everyone and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host Cooper Gretsch, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumours and results. I've got a very loaded show for you guys and girls today. We've got the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang. Got two things to bang on about. One is Matthew Lloyd saying that Brisbane cannot win the premiership yet. They've just beaten Melbourne and Richmond, who are supposedly premiership contenders. Definitely Melbourne, and people keep raving about Richmond being a chance to win. So, if that's not good enough for Lloydie, then what the hell is good? Then what? If they beat Geelong this week, is he still going to say they're not a chance? And that Sydney or Collingwood would be a walk-up or a lay-down misère, as they say? Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. And also, I'm going to add in too, Jacob Hopper. He nominated the Tigers, the contracted giant. I'm going to get on about that. It's not so much him taking the offer. It's more on Richmond's side of things. And also, I'm going to go through the review and preview of the final series, the 2 games on the weekend and the 2 games just gone. Yeah, we've got that to go through. And Trade Talk, which is back. And I got a big edition of the Trade Talk. Had some exclusives the last few weeks. And we'll see what else is in store for you guys today. But first off, let's start off with this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G. You want me to roast a friend, wish someone a happy birthday, congratulate them on something, give them a pep talk, want me to pump them up, something like that at all. All types of things. As long as it's appropriate, I'll do it in the request. So go and put your request through today. And merch, there's t-shirts, there's stickers, there's stubby holders, there's hats. Yeah, there's t-shirts, stickers, stubby holders, and hats. Yeah, that's right. Go and get your merch today. Greatly appreciate all of you who purchased the merch. We had a good order come through last night, so greatly appreciate to that person. You'll know who you are, because I'm sure you'll listen. If you buy my merch, you'll listen to the podcast as well. Greatly appreciate you. And yeah, if you want to put an order through, you're deciding what to get your mate, what present you want to give your mate for his birthday, or just want to randomly give your friend a gift for being a good friend, or whatever. Why don't you decide, forget the shops, forget going to the shops. You want to do something on your phone, or your iPad, or your computer, or your laptop, and you don't want to get off your bum and go out in the shops, just go on my merch shop. Go to Scoops. The merch link is in the description of this video. Go and get your merch. Go get your friend a t-shirt. Go get him a hat, a sticker. There's not many stickers left in hats, so recommend you get them ASAP. But there's stubby holders and there's t-shirts. So go and get yours today. Support me. I would greatly appreciate it if you can in that way, or cameo.com/Cooper G, as I said. Now let's get down to business with the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang! Matthew Lloyd. So Brisbane had a great win against Richmond, a close win at the Gabba. People are going to say it's a controversial win, but it wasn't, because it was a point to Tom Lynch. Now I digress. They beat Richmond, who people were touting as a premiership smoking. Well, then they did that, but that wasn't enough for Matthew Lloyd. Then they played Melbourne on the weekend at the MCG. They won pretty comfortably. And that's still not enough for Matthew Lloyd. Matthew Lloyd has been on this segment last week, and one of the first ever episodes of of Kick It to Scoops on Scoops Goes Bang. And there's a reason why. Oh, there's plenty more occasions. The Max King drama. He wanted to help, and then now he's saying, oh, all the media commitments, I don't know if I commit to this. Petty and everything like that. Look, there's a reason why he's been on it so many times, and it's for comments like this. Seriously, that's not good enough for you? They beat Richmond, then they beat Melbourne convincingly at the MCG. Now they're playing Geelong at the MCG. Yes, Geelong have had a good season, sure. But so did Melbourne. And Brisbane just wiped through them like they were absolutely nothing. They didn't have their main ruck, Oscar McInerney. They had Darcy Ford, who I think's had a great year at the Brisbane Lions when he's played in the AFL, and when he's been in the VFL, as expected, he's absolutely dominated. And he's deserved his spot. But yeah, and then we've had a few other players there. Marcus Adams has been out for a little bit now. And they still beat Melbourne pretty convincingly. Darcy Ford beat Max Gawn. And now we're going to say here, Matthew Lloyd, that Brisbane cannot beat Geelong or win the grand final. You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious. When I seen that comment, I quote the great BT Brian Taylor, boy oh boy, wowee. When I heard that, I thought, oh, here we go. Him and his mate Volcano love saying shit just for saying it. And this is another example of that. Matthew Lloyd, lift your game. Oh, by the way, segue too. On the footy show, yesterday on the Sunday footy show, great show. TJ and Co, on one of their segments, I think it was on What Caught My Eye, and they said about Matthew Lloyd about going to functions and about how much they want to sell themselves to play cricket and have a function. Apparently Matthew Lloyd is wanting at least over $5,000 a minimum. Apparently then he was asked about 10k and he said, oh, I'm not going to comment on that. So it sounds like at least 10k. They would know. They've talked before the show about this stuff. So Matthew Lloyd wants at least 10,000k to appear at a cricket function. Lloyd, you're just proving you don't give a shit about the people. You only care about your wallet. Lift your game. Pathetic. Jacob Hopper and the Giants and the Tigers. This is not so much a dig at Jacob Hopper or GWS. Richmond people are now hailing Jacob Hopper as the saviour. The saviour of the football club. Tim Taranto already nominated them for 7 years at 750. Tim Taranto is pretty good. 750 a year is fair enough for him. But 7 years, that's a question mark. And then we move to Jacob Hopper. 7 years at a roughly similar figures as 7 years to 750 per year is for Taranto, and Hopper will be about 600 at least. Now keep in mind this, Richmond fans. You think he's great? You think he's good? Fine. Your club clearly thinks he's great because he's been offered 7 years at, let's just say 600 for argument's sake. 7 years at 600. Now people are saying, oh, well, we should get him easily, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, you don't get him easily. For starters, GWS don't have to let him go. This is Hopper. He's got a year to go on his contract. GWS don't have to let him go at all. They probably will. But GWS have the bargaining power here. They have the magic wand. They can make the predictions, or they can make the statements to Richmond go, we want something good. We want... Now, I know Dustin Martin's reassured that he's staying. But in terms of asking, that doesn't hurt to ask. GWS can say to Richmond, okay, you want Hopper? You think he's worth so much? You can pay up so much. And people go, when I put a thing that GWS just say to them, we want Martin and 2 first-round picks. And a ruckman. That is not unreasonable. Then Richmond's people's arguments are, oh, that's a ridiculous offer, Scoops. How could you say that? Well, if you want to pay a ridiculous amount of money in a ridiculous amount of years for an okay midfielder, who's not even in the top 3 at the Giants, Cornelio, Tom Green, Josh Kelly, and there's another one I've just forgotten about. Cornelio, Kelly, Whitfield, and Tom Green are better than Jacob Hopper and Tim Taranto. So, when he was there. So, if you think he's worth 7 years at 750, you've got to pay the price of what someone that is worth 7 years at 750. So, if you were doing a trade for someone like that, Richmond should cough up, and it's probably going to be a package deal with Taranto and Hopper in it. Richmond should receive Hopper and Taranto, and GWS at a bare minimum get 2 first-round picks, a solid player, a ruckman. I know they've got 3 rucks on their list, but they're all fringe hacks. And then, mind you, Soldo is the one that could go there, and he's no better than the 3 they've already got. So if I was GWS, I wouldn't be wanting Soldo. You already got Briggs, Flynn, and Bruce, who are no better than each other. So, you know what? GWS go, okay, we want 2 first-round picks. We want Shai Bolton and Dustin Martin. Now, people are going to go, oh, you've got to be serious. You can't be serious. Well, Dustin Martin's getting towards the end of his career. He got on the big salary cap. They should say for Martin and Bolton and 2 first-round picks. Because if you're going to pay an amount of 7 years at $750 for Toronto and 7 years at $650 for Hopper, you got to cough up. If you think that's how much he's worth, then you've got to pay up the amount of someone that is worth that. You can't just say, Richmond fans are hypocrites. I see some people saying, oh, that offer you mentioned was ridiculous on Facebook with Hopper. Whoa. He's contracted, he is. And you want it. So Gino's got all the powers in this, for Hopper at least. They'll go, nope. You offer us 2 first-round picks for him. You value him so much to offer him 7 years at $600,000 to $700,000 is for Hopper. Then cough up that worth value in a trade. You can't just offer this guy this amount of money in years and then tell GWS you ain't paying shit for him in terms of a trade. You got to get a grip. So, everyone knows Hopper went to Richmond for the money. He would be stupid to turn that down. There was talk for Geelong for weeks, and there was only Geelong linked to him. Now, there's a question I got now with the unlimited salary cap that Richmond have. Unlimited salary cap, do they have? Do they have the Geelong salary cap? Do they have an extra couple million compared to everyone else? Seriously, it looks like that. Because how could they then keep Martin on 1.3 in the next 2 years, bring in Taranto and Hopper on 7-year deals at $600 to $750 for both, each, individually, per year? There's something going wrong. And GWS should play hardball here and go, nope, you want Hopper? Cough up something big. Otherwise, forget it. Forget about it. Or Geelong can go to GWS can go to Geelong and see what Geelong would offer. Then again, with Geelong, I'd love to know their unlimited salary cap as well. To Richmond fans and Richmond people who think that the value for Hopper in terms of trade is not worth 2 first-round picks / a decent player, then you got to lift your game, because if you want to pay the price of 7 years for Hopper at $650, you've got to pay the price value of that in a trade value, and that is at least 2 first-rounders / a decent player. To Richmond people, lift your game. Pathetic. Hope you guys enjoyed that edition of the world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Boom. Oh, boy. Okay. Now, before I get into the next few topics we're going to go through, now, I want to have some 20 likes for this video. I want you to subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for all notifications. You want to see more content of mine? Simple thing to do. Turn on the bell for all notifications, subscribe, so you never miss a video when I drop a video here on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, same ideal. Turn on the bell for all notifications on Spotify and Apple Podcasts too, and subscribe to those platforms as well. Leave a 5-star review on there. Greatly appreciate it. Send up in the comment section down below what your thoughts of the Hopper deal and Toronto stuff, the Matthew Lloyd things, any trade topic, anything at all. Send them down in the comment section. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And share this video out to your friends. Tell them to get on the bandwagon. If they're not on the Scoops bandwagon, well, they need to be on it now. Now, I'm going to keep on trying to get more guests on the show. We're in the works with some. Some are saying towards the end of the season, or after the season. So, we're in the works, so don't you worry. I'm still going about my business with that stuff, and hopefully have some more guests on soon, because it's been a long wait. Since the last guest I had on was Craig McRae, the second time. So, as you all know, I appreciate Craig so much for coming on, and yeah, we'll see how we go there with him and any other guests. So, yeah, right now, we'll go on to review and preview the final series of matches just gone and upcoming. So it was a 13th. Actually, before I say that, let's now go on to reviewing the finals, the semi-finals. It was Melbourne and Brisbane, and it was a 13-point victory for the Lions, 79 Melbourne, 92 the Lions. Well, pick of the players was Darcy Fort. For me, was one of the best players on the ground for the Brisbane Lions. Charlie Cameron popped up for a few goals. It was a great all-round team effort for the Brisbane Lions. Now, the real question... Oh, I suppose we'll get that in the preview, but... Yeah, great win for the Lions. Last game, Luke Jackson at the Melbourne Football Club. We'll get to that soon too. Disastrous for Melbourne. Luke Jackson had another poor back half of the season. Started in the first 4 weeks okay, and then dropped off from there. Honestly, I don't get the hype for $900,000 a year like Freo apparently reportedly offering. But yeah, it was a great win for the Lions. They had all-round great effort, and it was great to see the Lions up and about. No Joe Danaher for this game, and they still won. People were like, once Joe was out, that was it. I knew that would be the case because they got an all-round decent forward line. Lincoln McCarthy with Cameron, and you got McStay, Hipwood, and the replacement was Tom Fullerton. Joe Danaher will come back this week. So yeah, it'll be a great win for the Brisbane. It was a great win for the Brisbane Lions. We moved to the game at the MCG on Saturday night. It was the Pies and the Dockers, and unfortunately for the Dockers, they lost by 20 points, 79 Collingwood, 59 Freo, which spells the end of a great career for the Dockers, an AFL legend in David Mundy. 376 games. Dave Mundy will be missed. It was great to see him kick a late goal for the Dockers, but unfortunately that was the end for the Dockers this season and the end of the career of David Mundy, who is, I think, 8th in the all-time games record holders. So I think he could have been 7th if he played a few more games. So Dave, congratulations on a great career. Mr. Reliable, Mr. Fix-It. It's a shame that Nat 5 couldn't play in the last game, but it is what it is. And Dave, congratulations on a great career. Well done, Dave. But yeah, the Pies were too good. The Doggers were never really in it. All-around great victory for the Pies. Yeah, Jordan De Goey was best on ground yet again. Great set for Pies fans and potentially Saints fans if he goes there. It's still a bit hard to get a read on this. 1 minute he's going, 1 minute he's staying. Then it's 50-50. So I've been trying to get some more info on this, and he may stay at the moment. But again, the longer this drags out. But Collingwood did say they won't visit this until their season is over. So basically, once their season's over, if it's at the end of the trade period, if they play in the grand final, the Pies, it's going to be really hard for him to make a decision because you'll have, I think, 5 days essentially until the trade period starts, or free agency starts on the Friday. So yeah, he'll have the Friday after the grand final. So that's 6 days basically start making up his mind. So if they made the granny, if the decision's not made by that Friday that he's staying, he could be gone. And that'd be great because it's down to St Kilda and Collingwood. So come on, JDG, join the Saints, mate. Be the game changer we desperately need. Free up Membry, less pressure on King, help more midfielders Steely and Crouch and Co in there. Yeah, it's interesting one, JDG. He was best on ground yet again for the Pies. The Dacos brothers are pretty good as well. Pendlebury was good as well. So yeah, it was an all-round great effort for the Pies, who now advance to play the Swans. Now, well, speaking of the Swannies, we go to the preview of the preliminary finals. But first, we'll start off the game at the MCG on Friday night at 7:50 Victorian time in the MCG. Geelong hosting the Brisbane Lions. Brisbane have a few selection headaches to have. Joe Danaher will come back in. I think that one's self-explanatory for Tom Fullerton. That's an obvious one. But they want to bring back in Oscar McInerney. But the problem is they've always had a problem when they play too many talls. So does Darcy Ford just have to go out for Oscar McInerney? Does Oscar McInerney miss out? I think Darcy Ford did a great job. And every time he's had to play this year, Darcy Ford, he's done terrific. Been a great pickup from Geelong. They got for nothing, essentially. I'd keep Darcy Ford in. I really would. Cam Rayner came back in on the weekend. Noah Answorth, same. So, I don't know. I think the Lions are just going to have to make the tough call. Obviously, they'll bring Danaher in for Fullerton. For Darcy Ford, Jared Lyons, I don't think he'll come back in now. I think his season may be done and get him picked. So, does Darcy Ford stay in or does he go out? leave your thoughts down below. Does McInerney come in? Do they play both? And the mid or someone else goes out? Does McStay will stay in the team this week? It's a really tough one to think of for the Brisbane Lions. Do they drop someone in the forward line? Do they just play the extra tall? Geelong are known for their tall defence with Stewart and Blix Arves and Colin Dashney if he plays. So it's interesting. I think then they got Cameron and Carr up forward. So are they then just maybe, does Jack Payne go out? Do they push? It'd probably be a risk now doing it in the finals, but do they drop Jack Payne for Oscar McInerney? McInerney goes in the ruck. Darcy Fort goes forward, and Dan McStay, he goes in the back line. That's just something to keep an eye on, and it would not entirely shock me. It's just a way to keep Darcy Fort in the team, because I think he deserves to stay in the team. Or does just Oscar McInerney just have to say, sorry, mate, you got out with concussion 1 week, and now Fort played a ripper against Gawn, so you just will miss out. I would keep Darcy Fort in. Whether that bringing in McInerney as well, time will tell. Danaher will be in for Fullerton, we know that. And does Darcy Fort stay, and does McInerney come in? Or do they both stay in? Or does McInerney come in with Fort staying in? It's a tough question for the Lions and one they'll have to ponder. For Geelong, does Menengola come back in? I'm not so sure. There's a few selection decisions I'll have to make. Does Brendan Parfitt come back in? Again, time will tell with that, so we're going to have to wait and see there. But I think, in terms of a tip, I'm going to go the Brisbane Lions by 4 points. Go the Brisbane Lions for 4 points. Next game to go through, which would mean Geelong is gone, and the Lions would advance to the granny. Swans and the Pies at the SCG Saturday twilight at 4:45 of the SCG local time. Swans hosting the Pies. Craig McRae, no matter how the Pies go in this prelim, if they don't win this, Craig McRae is still, without a doubt, the best coach of the season 2022. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the grand final side, but from where the Pies have come from the bottom four to now, Craig McRae is the length of the Flemington Straight Coach of the Year. He's absolutely Coach of the Year, no matter how they go in this week. And Granny, if they make it, it's a tough one to tip. I've been thinking Collingwood, can they keep going and going and going? The Swans, they beat them at the SCG not too long ago. Geordie DeGo did not play that game. He will play this game. So, they're going to have their game changer back in the team. So, from that contest, they last played them. So, the Swans were good then. I think Heaney and Papley and Co stood up then. They want to influence them with Maynard and maybe Quainer on Heaney and Papley. So, interesting battle up there. I think the key matchup will be those two matchups. How Heaney and Papley go for the Swans. If the Pies can limit the influence of Papley and Heaney, they could go a long way to the Pies winning, because they were two good players last time. So they're the two players they've got to look out for. Especially, there's a whole list of players, but they're the two that I've just thought of, and they played well last time. For the Pies, the Swans just simply have to stop DeGoey. Quelly's influence, and probably Jamie Elliott too. They're the two informed players, I think, for the Pies at the moment. So if they can quality influence, and then maybe Rampy could go to him, because one of the McCartan brothers could get Cox. So, and that could leave Myercheck on the other. So then Jamie and on the other McCartan. So that, or Rampy. So one of the two McCartans or Rampy can play on Jamie Elliott, and just see how, or Robbie Fox even. So we'll see who Robbie Fox too. By the way, did get a 2 deal for the Swans. McCartan brothers both got extensions. Paddy got 2. Tom got 4 years. Interesting. But yeah, so that's key matchups for me from both ends of the ground. The Elliott and DeGoey, the Swans have got to stop, and Papley and Heaney, the Pies have got to stop. I'm tipping the Swans in a close game. I've tipped Collingwood for the majority of the week, but then for some reason I didn't change my tip. I never put the tip in, but I'm tipping the Swans in a close one. But this could go either way. Whoever advances the grand final, I feel in this game will be the premier. The Swans or the Pies, that is. So we'll have to wait and see. My 2 pre-season predictions for the grand final was Melbourne and Brisbane, with Brisbane winning. So obviously Melbourne's gone. So this is going to be interesting. I think the Lions will actually have a premiership tip. So, and that's still a possibility. Gee, imagine if the Brisbane Lions win the premiership. Lordy would jinx another person and probably correct the Sads over it. They had a go at TJ when he said about West Coast in 2018 and Dom Sheed goal. So, we'll see what happens here. I'm going the Swans. So, Swans and Brisbane for me, which means they would face off in the grand final. And the AFL probably wouldn't love that. 2 interstate sides in the Grand Swans and Lions. Gee, boy, oh boy, boy, they want the Pies and Geelong. You guarantee that's what they want. But I think it'll be the Swans and the Lions. So, then we'll get to that when we get to that next week on the show. Now, where are we? Okay, now it's time to go through the trade talk. Everyone loves going through trade talk, and that is what we're going to go through right now. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want at least 20 likes for this video, so leave a thumbs up. You're in the chat, you're watching my video, or you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review, thumbs up, anything at all. Do that. Greatly appreciate depending on what platform you are on. Now, Brodie Grundy. Now, he's one that I've been saying he's not going to leave. It's more so if Collingwood push him out, that'd be the only way he goes. My tune has kind of changed with this. Collingwood want to bring in multiple players. Tom Papley, they wish. Tom Mitchell's a chance to go in. Billy Frampton's a chance to go in. They're going to get Bobby Hill and they're going to get Dan McStay. And if they think Geordie De Goey is going to stay, then to bring in all these players, Grundy's salary has got to be the one to go. So it's an easy one. It depends. If Geordie De Goey goes to the Saints, I think Grundy stays. If Geordie stays, then Grundy might be gone if they want to bring all these players in. Tom Mitchell, I'm still not 100% certain. I still think he could go to St Kilda. I know he's got a year left at Hawthorn, but Hawthorn want him out too. And he kind of wants to move too. So it's an interesting one there. But yeah, Brodie Grundy, I feel like he stays. If he goes in, Melbourne's a club linked. I just don't see and understand why Grundy and Gawn would be in the same side. They're both great players, no doubt about it. But then one's just going to shift it in the forward line. I don't like them as a forward for big parts of the game. Pinch hits, sure. But again, I don't see, Melbourne, I'd love to know there. Now, we jump them to the Q2 with Collingwood and with Richmond and Geelong's unlimited salary cap. You know, Gawn on big money and May and Lever, Oliver, Petrarca, and Brayshaw, all on big money on big deals. How can they fit Grundy in as well? Now you can say, yeah, Collingwood will pay some of it. Maybe say 200. That leaves 800,000 for Grundy per year for 5 years. So I don't see how. I'd love to know their unlimited salary cap as well, especially if they bring in Grundy. People can say, oh, Jackson's going. Yeah, he's on a draftee contract. It's about 180,000. So because he's still on his draftee contract. So yeah, I don't think that would make a difference. So I think Grundy at this stage stays, depending on Geordie De Goey. Now, since I mentioned Collingwood and those other names they're linked to, Bobby Hill will come in, Dan McStay will come in, Billy Frampton may come in. The Crows' sample season finished. You may hear that request for Billy Frampton soon once Collingwood's done. But yeah, in terms of Tom Mitchell, it's still the one to keep an eye on at the Saints as well. I think he'll leave the Hawks, and he has their blessing. So Hawks at St Kilda or Collingwood for me for Tom Mitchell. Now, let's go through the other names that aren't linked necessarily to Collingwood. Geordie De Goey, sorry, I finished off. I think this I said earlier, I think this is a line ball call. I think if a decision's not made days after the grand final, he may be leaving. But again, it's a really hard one to get a read on. You get indications that he may be staying and going at different stages. So, and that's what I've kind of been told. So it's really up in the air still. No matter what people say, it's close. It's in Geordie's post saying brothers at Collingwood. You think, that's this, he's staying. Well, that looked like that was the case then. But then again, there's been no commitment. So it's an interesting one. They said end of the season. Maybe he has agreed to it. But they're not going to announce it until their season's over. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that. It's really line ball. He may stay, he may not go. He may stay, he may go. It's generally 50-50 right now. Now, Jason Horne-Francis, you can put that one to bed, I suppose, about him leaving. But next year, keep an eye out for the Crows and Poile there. Carl Amon obviously already nominated the Hawks. Isaac Rankin nominated the Crows. We mentioned already about Taranto and Hopper. Taranto got Richmond at 7 years at 750. Amazing. Hopper's the same, similar money. Amazing. We've kind of mentioned that before. Go check it out on Scripts. It's bang a bit early if you want to see the details on that. But Yeah, Geelong were interested in Hopper. Collingwood were into Taranto too at that stage, so before he made his mind. So, yeah, Hopper, it's ridiculous amount of money, ridiculous amount of years. No player should be offered 7 years, let alone an okay mid. He's not even in their top 3 or 4 midfielders at GWS. Dyson Heppel, the talks kind of died down about him joining Gold Coast, but I don't know if I see him staying at Essendon. Maybe he's waiting to see who the new coach is, and maybe the new coach will talk to Heppel, because I don't think he'll have the captaincy next year, but the new coach may think otherwise and want him to be captain again. So I think Heppel's waiting on the new coach. Brad Hill, St Kilda, I think he goes. Interesting, though, that he hasn't indicated an official request to North Melbourne. Clarko's tried to pinch him. Wait and see there. Hunter Clark is a new one. The North Melbourne apparently been in the contracted Saints, got another year to go. North Melbourne, Clarko trying to poach all the Saints along with Ben Long. Are you trying to poach the Saints, Clarko? You're not rating the Hawks, you're rating the Saints. Deep down, we know he wanted to coach St Kilda, but they didn't want Ratton out. Anyway, I hope you didn't hear that. Joking. Brad Hill, I think he goes. I think he does go to North Melbourne. Hopefully North pay up, because he's got 2 years to go in his contract and they take the bulk of that $900K. Luke Jackson, he's good as gone at Freo. Rory Lobb, he's good as gone, even though he's got a year to go, but both clubs want him out pretty much, and he wants to go. He wants to go, and the club wants him out pretty much. Bulldogs have been linked, but again, don't rule out the Saints here. The Saints have been very quiet outside of De Goey and a little bit of interest in Tom Mitchell. So don't rule this out. I'd be if they're really not making a play for Griffin Logue as well, I'd be very disgusted at St Kilda, and that's the area they need to bolster the key defenders and other tall forwards. So and the backup ruck. So they need to seriously lift their game. Do something. Rory Lobb, St Kilda and the Bulldogs are still in the mix. I think Bulldogs are the favourites, but we'll wait and see if funny things happened. Josh Dunkley, he's good as gone. Poilate the favourite, but Brisbane is still in the background as well. He's not going to Essendon. He's not staying at the Bulldogs. He's going. Poilate or Brisbane have the chance. If he doesn't make up his mind by the end of the next week and Brisbane is still in, it may indicate that he's going to the Brisbane Lions. But, again, this one's been confident with Paul, but he's dragging this out. Paul has been out for a while. Bulldogs have been out for a week and a half now. Joshy Dunkley hasn't made up his mind officially yet, publicly. So maybe he's waiting for Brisbane to be finished. Wait and see. Todd Goldstein's been linked to Geelong, St Kilda over in the past few years. He's officially staying at the Roos for another year. Good luck to him. Aaron Hall stayed for another year. He's staying at the Roos too. Dan McStay, I was mentioned earlier. Bobby Hill, we mentioned earlier. Cam Zerha, last week signed a 2-year deal with the Roos. He's out of the talk now. Ben Long, we just mentioned him. North Melbourne got some interest. He'll likely go there in good riddance. Zach Jones, the Saints, is going to out of contract. Jack Higgins is out of contract too, so watch your space on those two. I think Jack Higgins will get a new deal. I'm surprised he hasn't yet. And Zach Jones, depends. I think they're waiting to see if they could bring in a De Goey or Tom Mitchell. Otherwise, they'll probably keep him. Lloyd Meek, the Giants have interest in Lloyd Meek, the Docker young ruck. If Jackson coming in, it'll be Darcy Jackson. Then third option will be Lloyd Meek. So may look else. So GWS, we mentioned before about Soldo. GWS, this is a ruck when they should go for. Forget Bruce and Soldo, Flynn and Briggs. Lloyd Meek is good enough to play AFL. I like his form when Sean Darcy wasn't in the team, or even when they played together a little bit, but he was playing mainly forward. So they need him as a ruck, and that'd be one GWS should be looking at for Lloyd Meek. And Briggs got a 2-year deal not too long ago. So Flynn, I'm not so sure about him. Bruce is always injured and or suspended. So Lloyd Meek is a chance for GWS. St Kilda should look at him as well, actually. Ollie Henry. Geelong apparently showing some interest in. He's the brother of Jack Henry. A few years younger is Ollie. Collingwood been in out of favour lately the last 2 months. Geelong has shown him some interest. This is a type of player I think St Kilda should be prioritising as well. I mean, he's the forward. He's the younger, so you'd have years ahead of him. Doesn't give many possessions. He's similar to Bailey Fritsch for me in terms of possessions and goals. But that's something they should look at. Wouldn't cost much, so that'd be something to look out for. Matt Crouch, I still don't have much of an update on Matt Crouch. He wants to stay in Adelaide, but doesn't want to play Sandford. And he's not going to get a game at the Crows. Adelaide is the same case. So I find this really hard to understand. I think he may leave. Essendon should just throw him 2-3 year deal. Jack Gunson, Still Brisbane or staying. I think he may be more inclined to going. Maybe he hasn't made up his mind again, like with Dunkley, because the Lions season hasn't finished. Imagine the Lions to bolster their team with Jack Gunston and Josh Dunkley. I'd be premiership favourites next year if they can bring in Dunkley and Gunston, because they're kind of missing these type of players. Gunston have been linked to for a long, long time. Imagine a forward line with Gunston, Cameron, McCarthy, Danaher, and Hipwood. That's a pretty dangerous forward line. You can throw Dunkley there too if he wants to play forward as well. So that's McCarthy, Cameron, Danaher, Hipwood. We know McStay's going. He's not McStayin, he's McGowan. So yeah, good replacement essentially for McStay would be Jack Gunston. Luke Bruce signed an extension with the Hawks for 2 years, I'm pretty sure it was. So it's the Hawk for life. Luke Bruce had interest from GWS last year in the trade period, which I exclusively broke. Paddy Dow, a year to go in his contract at the Blues. Let's watch his space on him. I still don't think he's a guarantee to stay. Same with Will Setterfield. Blake Acres apparently is going to go to Carlton on a low deal. 3's at about 350. I think Blake Acres is worth a bit more than that. That's pretty disrespectful, actually. The Dockers are lowballed him. The Dockers are in trouble with losing some players. And the next bloke, Griffin Logue, mentioned with the Roos and the Swans. But I've been saying for St Kilda, if there's any play outside of Tagoe that they should be targeting, it is Griffin Logue. Need a key defender to help Howard Battle, Highmore, and Wilkie are not key defenders. They're third tall intercept. Griffin Logue, you can pair him with Howard. Perfect. Then you have Wilkie and Battle and Highmore. Maybe Battle can go back forward. And Highmore could stay in the back line in the team. It's an interesting one to do, and that's what they should be targeting Griffin Logue, is playing Battle, Wilkie, Highmore as key defenders, as on the big gorillas, as they call them, like a Cameron or Hawkins. They shouldn't be doing that. Griffin Logue can play that way, and he can even play forward if you need a Griffin Logue. He's shown that at the Dockers. Brendan Cox, some interest from the Crows. I've mentioned a few times with the Crows with his link. Just imagine if the Dockers lose Brendan Cox as well. They're going to lose Griffin Logue, Blake Acres, Rory Lobb, Lloyd Meek. They're in trouble next year. The Dockers, they lose all these places. They don't bring anyone in. They're only bringing Jackson at the expense of 5 players. And Liam Henry's the latest one to be linked to a move out of WA. He's down the pecking order. You got Walters ahead of him. You got Sam Sturd, who just signed a 1-year deal ahead of him. Sam Sutskowski, Lockie Schultz. So I don't rate Liam Henry anyway, so for the Dogs, I'd just get rid of him. I'd try so hard to keep Griffin Logue and Lloyd Meek, and Blake Acres for that matter, but they're lowballing Blake Acres, so you should just leave him. Nathan Wilson got a year extension back up to the back line. Junior Rioli is going to go to Port Adelaide, we know that. Dustin Martin saying he's staying. I mentioned Sam Sturt already. Braden Fiorini's one to keep an eye out on. Apparently got some interest from Collingwood, which I exclusively reported months ago. Tanner Bruin linking between Geelong, Hawthorn, North Melbourne. There's still a line ball either way. Maybe he's waiting for Geelong's season to finish, because GWS finished a few weeks ago. Hawthorn and North had already finished. He's met with all those clubs recently, though, so maybe he's generally undecided still. And Liam Jones will come back to Carlton, to the Western Bulldogs from Carlton after his year off in the AFL. So, if there's any more players that I have not mentioned already, sound them off in the comment section below, or preferably email me, Facebook message me at AFL Information, Trade Rumours and Results, or on Instagram, AFL Info Live. Go follow those platforms as well, if you can. I greatly appreciate it. And any trade questions you've got, always message me on Facebook or Instagram, as I just gave you the names from AFL Information, Trade Rumours and Results on Facebook and Instagram, AFL Info Live. Thank you all for tuning in to Kick It to Scoops this week. Grand final show next week. As I said, I'll always be on still during the trade period. May do a daily video during the trade period, the free agency starts on Friday after the grand final, and 2 Mondays after the grand final. The second Monday after the grand final is the first official day of the trade period, the first Monday in October. So, thank you all. Until next time, everyone, have a great one. The most important thing of all to remember is go the Saints, and of course, acknowledge me, the one. Subscribe to Kick It to Scoops, the best podcast going around. the only one you shall watch.